Hello and welcome back to the James Walker Show. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Between Two Ferns, the movie. This is your Netflix Rewind. Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, the movie is quite a title. It is also a big budget adaptation of the popular web series Between Two Ferns. For those of you who don't know, Between Two Ferns is produced by Will Ferrell's company and website Funny or Die. And it is a talk show hosted by Zach Galifianakis where he interviews celebrities you have heard of. The thing that really makes the show what it is and popular is Zach Galifianakis' interview style. He's really patronizing in this. He's arrogant, he's a dick, he's argumentative. He's just really deprecating to the celebrities. Here's an example of kind of his interview style and him being a dick to the celebrity. But when he's interviewing Matthew McConaughey, he says, "Out of all the things you can win an Oscar for, how shocked were you to win one for acting?" And he also says, "The lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars also won one. So how much talent do you really think goes into one of these?" It's all a joke, but it's all really, really funny. And he's interviewed some big name actors. He's interviewed Brad Pitt, Sean Penn, Charlize Theron, Bruce Willis, Natalie Portman. He has interviewed big names. He even interviewed Barack Obama during one of his presidential terms. And he interviewed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. So, he's got that going for him. So the premise of the movie is, after an incident while interviewing Matthew McConaughey, Will Ferrell tells Zach Galifianakis he has to give him 10 episodes of his web show. And in return, he will give Zach Galifianakis a late night talk show to host. So Zach Galifianakis and his production team hit the road to get these 10 episodes and interview celebrities across the country. And there are a lot of celebrities that show up in this. There are so many cameos, but he interviews David Letterman, Paul Rudd, Tessa Thompson, Brie Larson, John Hamm, Benedict Cumberbatch, Peter Dinklage, John Legend, who was the other one? Haley Stanfield, and Tiffany Haddish. The interviews in this movie are hilarious. They are hands down the best part of the movie. They are really fucking funny. All the interviews are great. I don't know if I could pick my favorite one. The Paul Rudd one was pretty funny, but they are all great. Meh, with the exception of the John Legend one. That one you could tell you're like, that's scripted. The Matthew McConaughey interview was really funny too. That would kick the whole thing off. But hands down, the best part of the movie is the interviews. And if you've seen the show, you know that when he's interviewing their celebrities, he puts a title card up with their name and usually something underneath it that is making fun of them. An example of this movie is when he's interviewing Benedict Cumberbatch. He puts his name on there as Benadryl Cumberbatch, and underneath it says Holmes and Watson. Another good example is when he's interviewing Paul Rudd. Underneath his name it says Ant-Man, but it's spelled A-U-N-T. Those title cards with the names just fucking killed me when I saw those. Before I really get into the review, I just want to say that I am a huge Zach Galifianakis fan. I just love his comedy style. His jokes are just on point, and his comedic timing is impeccable. Not only are his jokes really funny, but his slapstick is really well. He's able to do the physical stuff with a lot of laughs. He's a comedian that I really get. It's stuff that I really relate to. Just the kind of jokes that I love. And I was really excited for this movie because I was a huge fan of the show. It's the kind of prick humor that I like. So the movie starts off with Zach Galifianakis being interviewed by this documentary film crew. And at first you're just kind of like, okay, I guess this is going to be in the mock you style. The Office, Parks and Recreation, etc. And to be honest, I wasn't really a fan of that. I'm just kind of over the mockumentaries at this point. But at one point, after he's done introducing his production team, he yells cut, and the documentary crew becomes a part of the movie. So you're thinking, okay, the documentary was just kind of at the beginning. Now we're actually in the movie. We're in a real movie. But there are several points in the film where they go back to that documentary style, where people are breaking the fourth wall looking at the camera, they're hiding stuff from the other actors, so you're really not sure, is this a real movie or is this kind of a mockumentary? Speaking of the other characters in the movie, I want to talk about his production team because they are all really funny too. They're just great in this. You have Ryan Gaul, who plays Cam, the cameraman, and you also have, I'm going to butcher this name, Jiavani Linayao. She plays Boom Boom, the boom operator, because they couldn't come up with any more names after Carol. But Ryan Gaul's fantastic in this. Him and Zach Galifianakis have this back and forth. They have a disliking of each other, so they're always putting each other down, and just the back and forths they have are really, really funny. And Jiavani Linayao is really funny in this too. I genuinely think her career is going to take off after this. I mean, she was just great in it. And then you have Laura Lapkus as Carol, Zach Galifianakis' assistant. And when I first saw her, I was like, who is this chick? She's really funny. And then it dawned on me and I go, oh, she was in Jurassic World and she really wasn't that great in it. But she killed it in this. Comedy is just her foray. But she kind of has this sweet awkwardness that kind of blends well with Zach Galifianakis' style. There's some real chemistry between the two. After Zach Galifianakis and the interview, she was my favorite part of this movie. I mean, she was just brilliant. Now, the actors who are playing themselves in this are obviously playing fictionalized versions of themselves. And this is most prominent in Will Ferrell's character, Will Ferrell. They wrote him very over the top and very non-Will Ferrell. His character actually reminded me of Lord Business from the Lego movie, just in kind of terms of how he talks and some of the dialogue he spits out. And even though everybody knew that these were fictionalized characters, Will Ferrell's portrayal was still kind of stilted. This movie is very tongue-in-cheek. It definitely doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows that this is a movie about funny situations. But there are a lot of moments that really remind you of that. And a lot of it has to do with Will Ferrell's character. At one point, he's telling the documentary crew why he picked up the Zach Galifianakis show Between Two Ferns. And he said it brought a lot of clicks. Clicks equal money. Money equals the white stuff. So I guess in this, Will Ferrell has a really bad cocaine addiction. Not just him, though. Some of the celebrity interviews, you can kind of tell that, especially with the John Legend one. John Legend interview was really, you could tell, was scripted and just not real. And a lot of the appeal of Between Two Ferns was that you actually thought this was real. You thought this was real reactions to this kind of dickhead asking these questions. You weren't sure if that was real, but in this movie you can definitely tell that this is not real. This is all staged. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Also, I just kind of felt that some of the stuff was a little hokey. There's a scene with Gal Gadot that, if you've seen it, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But I was like, yeah, that's a little much. So in conclusion, the interviews are fantastic. I mean, it's stuff that really made the show great, and it really carries over well to the movie. However, I felt that some of the overly exaggerated characters were a little too overly exaggerated, if that makes sense. And the fact that this kept going back and forth between a regular movie and a mockumentary, that it kind of didn't know what movie it wanted to be. You actually kind of have to be in the right mindset to watch a mockumentary, believe it or not. I'm going to give Between Two Ferns, the movie, I'm not going to say watch it, because if you are a fan of the show, you may not like this. However, if you're not a fan, you definitely won't like it. I really need to come up with something between watch it and skip it. I'll just go ahead and say that Between Two Ferns, the movie, is kind of in the middle. If you were a fan of the show, you might like it. If you weren't a fan, you definitely won't like it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think of Between Two Ferns, the movie. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for more Netflix rewinds. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.